Hi guys. So the topic, as you see it there, are children entitled to their parent asset? It's just a question, see what the public think. Yes, you know, many children believe that they are entitled to their parent asset when their parents passed on. Yes, the parents should leave their asset to them. Many children fight with their siblings for possession of their parent asset, and this has been a long-standing issue in many families in our society today. Many children, they live to inherit their parent asset. That's what they live and depend on. While some children, does not matter if they have access to their parent asset after their parents pass on or not. It's not a problem for them. My view on it, I know many people who believe that they should have right to their parent asset. I know many people, yes, maybe about out of 100%, maybe about 80% felt that they should be entitled to their parent asset. On the other hand, maybe about 20% would think that no, it's a blessing if their parents leave their asset to them, and they will appreciate it if it happened. But if it doesn't happen, it's not a problem. So I'm posting this question out there and see what the general public think. Are children entitled to their parent asset? Please comment. Let me know what you guys think. What is your view on the topic? Yes. But before we get into the live, remember when you come on to like up the live, to comment, and to subscribe to the channel if you are not already subscribed. All right, guys. So please come in and tell me what you guys think. What's your view on the topic? Yes, what's your view on it? Let me know what your view is and what you think. Yes, I'd appreciate if you could comment. When you come in, comment and let me know what your thought on the topic. Yes, many people, feel like they're entitled to what their parents have, when their parents passed on. To me, it's a blessing if my parents, leave um their asset to me. If it was not that, in that case, I would not mind it, because I learned to not to worry about those things. I am glad that, in a sense, that, my parents, my father, yes, but if it was the other way, it wouldn't be a problem either. Yes, because I remember years ago when I was much younger and I was living in Jamaica. I am the only one for my dad. I am the only child for my dad. And I had a cousin where my cousin have a daughter, and my dad brought my cousin daughter and put her name in his bank account. At first, I thought it, maybe should have put me, but then I didn't make it offend me because it's his account. He decide whose name he want to go into his account. And as a result, he did not choose me to put my name in it. And I just move on. I never really upset with my cousin or anything, because I learned that that's not my dad decision. Maybe if I was a different child, maybe it would be a big thing. Yeah, maybe it would have been a big thing, but I never really make it be a bother to me. I get on with my cousin the same way. Yeah, you know. In the end, I was not there. She was there. Some of the time, she was the one who cooked for my dad. She was the one who was there for my dad many times, you know. So in that way, maybe because I was not there, you know, because even when that happened, I was living in Jamaica, but I was not living in the area where my dad was, but my cousin was living in the area. So maybe, on the other hand, that's why my dad did what he did. And when my dad, I didn't know much, I weren't aware of how much money my dad had in his account at any time. I remember when my dad died, and the day after the funeral, I found his bank book on the floor. I think it was only $3,000 was in it, you know. And I never make it bother me because I never, I never make it bother me from day one, you know. It never bothers me from day one, no. And when my dad passed on, the land that my dad let leave, I remember asking the next door neighbor to work the land. And my cousin and other people were saying that, why did I do that? You know, I say, let the man work the land, he can't move the land. You know, I don't, I don't feel like certain things I should really worry and fuss about, you know. Yeah, it's not that I am, you know, stupid or anything, but what am I going to worry over? Something that I can't, you know, I have no control over. You know, I know people who their parents passed on and did not leave their inheritance to them, and they make a big fuss about it. They even upset with their siblings that the parents choose to leave the asset to, you know. But, you know, I don't understand. Why would you want to fight with your brothers or your sisters if your parents passed on and leave the asset to them? I don't see it as a reason for you to fight with your brother. You know, as long as your parents was in their right mind, you know, they was not forced, they weren't blackmailed, and the parents come to a logical decision that they want to give their asset to, say, for instance, Thomas, just an example, you know, and you didn't leave it for you. Why are you going to fight for it? You know, it's not yours in the first place. It's your parents' right to make decision who they choose to leave the asset for, you know. And it's been an issue where sibling, you know, hurt the one another because of, you know, inheritance, you know. And it's been an ongoing issue. It called rifts in the family many times, you know. So I want you guys to comment and to tell me if you felt, you know, that children are entitled to their parents' asset when their parents passed on. Is it right that the parents have to leave their asset to them? I don't believe it's right. The parents must choose who he or she choose to leave their asset to. I believe that is an individual right to have the choice to choose, you know. And I believe as well the siblings that did not receive any of the asset should, by right, should not fight with the siblings that receive the asset. Because if their parents choose to leave it to them, they should respect their parents' last wishes, you know. And that stems from greed. It stems from, you know, when you have a greedy mind, a mind that you feel like you're entitled. Because many people have a mind that they feel like they're entitled. They have this entitled mentality that if my parents have it, I should entitle to it. You know, it's not a must that you have to be entitled to what your parents have. Because what your parents have belongs to your parents. And, you know, out of respect, if your parents choose, say for instance, if your parents have 3 children, right? And your parents choose that they're going to leave the asset to an individual child or what, you know. I think out of respect, you should respect your parents' decision. However, if your siblings have a good mind or think that you're entitled to something, if he or she have a good mind, that sibling can decide that, you know what, I am going to give John or Thomas something out of what my parents left. But even in another instant where he or she choose not to share it, you shouldn't fight over it. Because at the end of the day, the parents make the decision who they choose to leave the asset to. That's my take on it, you know. That's my take on it. Yes. So you guys might have a different take on it. Yes. If you have a different mindset or a different belief, you can comment it. You can, comment on the subject and let me know if I am wrong the way I look at it, because I'm willing to learn. I'm all ears to learn, but this is my belief because, as I said before, when I was growing up, I was the only child for my dad, and my dad did not choose to put my name in his bank account. He put my cousin name in it. And at first, I was like, why did my dad didn't put his name in? But honestly to God, I never have a ill feel to my cousin. No, I did not have an ill feelings to my cousin. I don't know if it was not something that, I see a significant, or, but I did not. And even when my dad passed away, I did not go to my cousin and said, you know what, did my dad have any money in the bank account? I never do it. I never do it. I never do it. I remember in the evening when the funeral over and I was standing inside my dad's house because it was raining and we were all sheltering from the rain. I don't know, I just see the bank book on the floor. I saw this thing on the floor and I went and picked it up. I said, what is this on the floor? When I look, it was my dad's bank book. I don't know if my cousin wanted me to ask question or say anything, 'cause she was there as well. And I know the bank book did not suddenly just turn up out of nowhere on the floor. I know it must have been placed there for me to see her, you know. And I did not at any point said to my cousin, before the funeral taking place, I never said to my cousin, did my dad have any money in the account? Did my dad have his? I swear I never asked. Because I believe if money was in my dad account, if my cousin fear enough, honest enough, and choose to come to me and say, oh, this is what, or that is that, she would have. And I buried my dad. I paid for my dad's funeral all by myself. At the time, I did not have a lot of money. I was going to university at the time. I was, I think I just started university, yes. And I remember getting my bursary money, and that's what I used to go and pay for my dad's funeral. And even though I was low on money, I never said to my cousin, how many money my dad have in the account? Is my dad have money? I never asked her no question. I'm sure if she see this video, she can comment. I never asked her any questions. And she did not come forward with any money, and I never asked her. You know, I remember when I went there to my dad's house, everything out of my dad's house was cleared out, apart from some board that my dad have in the house. And I, even if I wanted a shirt for my dad to um to keep as a remembrance of my dad, I never have access to get that because everything was cleared out. Maybe if I wanted it and asked her, she would have given me. But to tell you the thing, because I was mourning for my dad, it never come to my mind to ask. And, you know, yeah. So I never feel like I'm entitled to, even though it was my dad, I never feel like I'm entitled to. I just tell myself, yeah. Even when I was here in England here, I remember people used to call me and say to me that, oh, my dad will the land to my cousin and all of that. I never, at first when I heard, I said, why my dad would do anything? I was saying, why my dad would do that? But you know what? I just said to myself, anyways, it's land. If you want to will it to my cousin, that's fine. However, I later on find out that it was not the truth anyway. I thought people was making mischief. Yeah, people was trying to make mischief. And when I went and do my dad's funeral and everything, as I said before, there was a next door neighbor. And after finding out that my dad didn't will anything or anything, and I know inherit my dad's land, I realized that, that was not true. I just asked the next door neighbor to work the land, and people were saying, why do you give him? You should charge him or whatever. I never do anything of that. I remember saying to him that to work the land and to keep the grave area clean. Even though people were coming, I said, you know what, let him work the land because he can't move the land. It's land. He can't move it. Instead of the land stay here, grow a lot of grass and, you know, not making any, good, produce or anything. Let him work the land. And I went back last year and I see that he's working the land. He's keeping the graves and clean and I'm happy, you know. Yeah, so I don't feel like, because it's your parents, you're entitled. So I want to say for those people who felt like they are entitled, who fight with your sibling or others because of asset that your parents passed on and left. Look into it. Don't fight over it. Because, those people who years ago, many, many years ago, who fight over things and carry the world on the head, they're no longer here fighting. You know, the main thing for us to look on and to keep a lid on and to focus on is our soul. This body that we're living in, there's a spirit and soul remain in it. Dwell in it. In other words, and that's what we are to worry about. And you know, I'm not perfect, but I'm just saying I am focusing more on my inner self. Yes, instead of focusing on the things outside. Because believe me, when you look into the cemetery nowadays, or from ever since, you never see any house is in the cemetery. You never see any car, any asset in the cemetery. Everything that you came here and occupy, there's a time coming that you will have to leave it. You know? So this is my comment. This is my suggestion on the topic. If you're in this situation that I'm mentioning or discussing now, look in your inner self. Try to love your brothers and your sister. Even if you don't agree with them, I'm not saying that you have to agree with everybody. I'm not saying that you should you know, turn a blind eye if someone is hurting you. But just find a middle ground. Try and find a middle ground how to deal with it. Yes, we have to all try to find a middle ground. We're not gonna get on with everybody. We're not gonna be everybody cup of tea, you know. Not everybody's gonna be our cup of tea, but we all have to try and find a middle ground, how to deal with certain things. And one thing I can say, if you're in the situation where your parents passed on and did not leave any of their asset to you, don't fight. Or if you're fighting, stop fighting. You know, your parents is capable. They were in their right mind when they will or leave over everything for your brothers or your sister. Don't hate your brothers or your sister either. Let love abide. Let the love of God abide in your soul. Don't fight over it. If your parents wanted to leave it for you, they would have. And it's their choice. They're entitled to leave what they earn for who they choose to. You know? If you find that you have that spirit of entitlement, pray that God will deliver you from it. Respect everybody's choices. That's their choices, and this is what they decide to do. Don't fight with your brothers or your sisters. You know, this is my suggestion to it. Yeah, I had 2 visitors on the channel, but I guess they did not like the topic, so they didn't comment. But I hope that people will see my topic and they will comment and share it, and look on the way I think about if it's the right way. But I believe it's the right way. Yeah, because everybody have a mind, everybody have will, and everybody have emotion. And if you work hard for your stuff and you choose that you're gonna live it for John Tom, Mary should not come fighting. As long as when you make that decision, you were competent, you were in your right mind, you know, you weren't forced, it was your choice and your decision, no one should fight about it. All right? You might not happy with the decision that the person make, but leave it because they decide to make it that way. All right? Respect everybody's opinion and choices. All right? Remember to like my video, remember to comment, to share, and to subscribe to the channel. Until next time, stay blessed. Yeah? Remember, God will say over yourself. All right? God be with you all.